I am in Canada.
Okay, so that this makes
You know what it is? It's actually not the sun. It's the sun reflecting off of the snow that is almost permanent here. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, that would not be something that Texans are really fond of right now.
no.
We had that last week. We're over it. Okay.
It was more than last week, but yeah, we're.
I'm from Chicago, so I'm not really mad at the snow. I'm more mad at ERCOT and not being able to handle that. Like snow, it's a thing. But me not having lights and then me not having water for I'm unhappy about that.
Yeah, there's still people dealing with that.
I'm from Wisconsin originally, so I understand what you mean by I'm not mad at the snow, but I actually am mad at the snow because I moved away from Wisconsin a long time ago, so I could be somewhere where it's warm.
We were running from that. I was like, northern people, come get your weather because
I wasn't running from it because we're military, so we actually moved here to San Antonio from Hawaii, so it's like but it's a lot cheaper here. the beachfront property in Hawaii is a little more expensive, and here there is no beach, but I can drive 4 hours. Well, we're live right now.
Yeah, we've been live.
We're just over here complaining about snow and hanging out.
Not being in Hawaii.
It's all good, y'all. It's all good. So, yes, we are live in the Facebook group. And we are live on the fan page. And I'm just going to say, hey, this is Nicole Whitlock with eCom Sellers. And I have with me an amazing group of people. So I'm going to go from my top to side to side. So we're going to go with the ladies first. Michael's last.
It's all good. It's all good.
We have with us Miss Tiffany Hicks, who actually is in Houston. And hey, we have Amy Wees with Amazing at Home, and she's in San Antonio. And then we have Mr. Michael Wees on this side. I don't know which way. Anyway, Michael's in Canada. Dun, 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 dun. Michael's so Michael's with Dropify, and Miss Tiffany is with VR Training Solutions, and we are here to answer whatever questions you have. We might have a surprise visitor. We might have another panelist that joins us. I don't know. I gave him the invite. We'll see. And so this is everyone's opportunity to ask their questions, e-commerce related questions. Tonight's topic is white label and private label, but if you don't have any white label, private label questions, if you just have some e-commerce related questions, you got a great panel here, so you can ask your questions. We had a great discussion last night, so I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves, and we'll wait for the questions to come in. We'll maybe talk about some tips or strategies because Michelle gave us some great ideas about the next panel. So go ahead, one of you just take off and just give a little bit about yourself.
Well, why don't we let Michael go first since he was last time?
Oh my gosh.
I shouldn't have put Michael in. I'm in trouble when people say Michael.
And me and Michael have this relationship.
Did you clean your room, Michael?
Right. That right there, it's traumatic. If my mom's watching right now, she goes, Michael. It was more like this, like almost like this cough. Anyway, we don't have to talk about that.
He always gets me in trouble, guys. I just want you to know, every time I have any session with him, I end up laughing the whole time. But anyway, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna keep it under control. Mr. Mike, would you like to go first?
Oh, thank you, Mike. I'm not in trouble now. So I am working at Dropify, as Nicole had said. I am, I wear a lot of hats there. Right now, I'm acting as one of their expert coaches or lead trainers. My history, first at Dropify, what we do when it comes to private label and white label, in case people are wondering, is we just recently, and Amy and I have had a chance, I don't think I've had a chance to chat with Tiff about it too much, but I definitely have had a chance to hang out with Amy a bunch. And what we do essentially is private label on demand. So it has that drop ship model for things like supplements, CBD products, skincare products, coffee, pet supplements, joint supports, that kind of stuff. And so anything really in the consumable space is what we're going after. So I'm super excited to be a part of this panel because anyone that has questions about private label, we're kind of doing more the dropship side, but my history My wife and I have been doing a lot of private label stuff for the last 5 or 6 years. Actually, my wife loves Amy, which is awesome. So she was really excited that was being a part of today, just because that is her culture, that's her world, right? She wants to be an entrepreneur at home, and she wants to be a stay-at-home mom that can homeschool her kids and all the nines, right? So everything that Amy preaches. But yeah, we've had our fair share of just nightmares with private label as well, and having orders getting held up in Amazon, and hazmat and freaking shipping, and it's just like it's not an easy road when you're just getting started. Amy is way more the pro at that than I am, but yeah, I guess that's the fun part when you bring panels like this together, right? Is we kind of are actually the worst failures, only because we failed so much. But we failed so much that we've been able to actually, change gears and figure out what it took to succeed. And now when you're seeing us here, you're not seeing us in our failure state, you're seeing us in our success state. But our resume is so ugly if we were to be so honest about it. And that's why we can come on panels like this and we can answer questions, right? So it's a real honor to be able to join you three ladies. So
well, we're glad to be here. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I think it's great to be able to. I don't think any of us got to our successes without a couple of failures along the way. I have a lot of really fun. Well, I don't know if they're super fun, but
they weren't fun when you were going
stories
through them.
about
Correct.
products that I launched that were just terrible. And I still have what Nicole calls, what is it, like a death pile, where you're just trying to get rid of like old inventory and stuff. We got rid of a lot of that during COVID, and that's why I love hanging out with Nicole too, because it's like, oh, that's a new channel I haven't played around. I love hanging out with the folks that do like retail arbitrage and online arbitrage and all that kind of fun stuff, because they always know new channels that we private labelers don't really pay that much attention to. So, I always learn new things hanging out with them. But I'm Amy Weiss, founder of a company called Amazing at Home, and I'm an inventor and a private label brand owner, and I help people develop unique and differentiated products and help them master the path from concept all the way to launch. So, we've had a big impact on a lot of folks. We were voted, third in the world in the last Amazon seller poll for consultant, for course, and we can scroll through Amazon and see people in every category, brands in every category that we've had a part of. And it's a truly humbling experience. And the reason that I'm able to say that is because so many people have come to me for help, and they have increased my experience. So I owe it all to them. It's not about me and what I've done. It's about what they've done and what they've taught me in trusting me to help them with their businesses. So it's just been a really cool journey so far. I myself have been selling on Amazon since 2007 as a hobby, and spent 18 years in the Air Force, and retired from that in 2018 to be a full-time entrepreneur. And here I am, and just having a blast. So we have 3 private label brands, and we are looking to actually sell those at the end of this year. So we're kind of working on packaging them up and bundling them up, getting them all ready to go. And then we want to play again, because, this kind of stuff is really, really fun. So that's just an intro to me, and I'll pass it off to Tiffany. Here you go, Tiffany. Catch.
Got it. So just so y'all can know, when I was looking down, it wasn't because I was paying attention. I was taking notes. That's right. This is amazing. Like, how do I manage to get on a panel with exactly what I've been asking God for? So that just is so amazing for me, to just even be in a space with you all and know that I can come to you for that. So why am I here? So first of all, I am Tiffany Hicks, and I'm the CEO of VRE Training Solutions, and training is my passion. I do business training all the time, and most of what I do is really talking to business owners about how to level up and step things up in their space, right? So I always tell people that if you offer a service, you need to offer a product. because you don't know what's going to happen in the economy. You don't know what's going to happen in your life. You have no idea. So when you're down, you can sell products online, right? Same thing if you have a product, expand yourself. Maybe there's a disruption in the market and people don't really want to buy that product anymore. And maybe you need a little bit of time to develop something else before you send it out, right? And then develop a service. So for me, I'm excited to be here with you all because I talk to people or my clients all the time about PLR and white label stuff, because at the end of the day, it's a time saver. There's someone out there that is more brilliant than you, who has put all this stuff together, and they have said, hey, here, buy this, slap your label on it, be good at marketing and customer service, and go out and be freaking great. So I just, that's one of the things that I really talk to business owners about, because there's only one you, and you have limited time. But when you go out and you engage PLR or white label, it gives you the opportunity, one, to expand your business model. But the other thing is that it gives you an opportunity to have some done for you stuff, right? Which gives you more time back in your day. So I'm so excited to be here, just to be on the same stage with you guys. So thank you so much. Like, everything that you're doing is amazing. So I'm Tiffany. That's what I did.
All right. So I'm Nicole, and I think I will not give my bio because I want people to ask questions. But the short part of my story is I'm the creator of eCom Seller Summit, and we do this twice a year. The second summit we do is eCom Q4 Summit, and I'm all about helping people learn all things e-commerce related, regardless of what it is, what method is, what approach you're doing, what platforms you're on. I'm all things and everything e-commerce, because I just believe that it's a great way to make money, and it's a great opportunity for people who are looking for solutions. Mm-hmm. So that is the short story about me. And then I have 2 kids at this point. I think my son, in the middle of you guys talking, I'm over here directing traffic, trying to make it. So for those who don't know, this is live. This is real. Last night, we had a dog visit. We had a little kid visit. So anything is possible in the middle of this live session. So our goal tonight is to be able to answer your questions. So if we have anything that happens, it just happens, because it's just all part of being real and being live. We want you to type your questions in the chat. Ask us your questions that are e-commerce related. Ask us your questions that are not e-commerce related. Ask us your questions that are private label or white label related. And we are going to do our best to either answer your questions or do some digging. I feel like we at least have, I feel like we could answer those questions because we have the right panel for it. So whatever your question is, type it in the chat. And maybe you're wanting to launch a private label this year. So maybe you have some beginner questions. So we have, the right group here to answer your questions. This is Ask Us Anything night. And maybe you're already selling a private label product and you're trying to figure out, how can I get more traffic to it? How can I get more traction on it? Maybe you're thinking about, what are the private label? What are some of the steps that I have not done? So I just want you to know, Amy's session was today. So if you didn't watch it, you still have the opportunity. It'll be up for the next several hours. You can go watch it. You can sign up for her private label course. Plug for Amy.
I gotta check that out, man. Amy's smart, man. She's really smart. When you give her the reins and she takes over, my goodness, like, you better be like recording that stuff, or get the VIP stuff. She's smart.
Yes, to get the all access.
Way too nice. Way too nice.
Well, you're welcome. So I'm just going to start with, let's say, because we don't have anybody asking questions yet. I'm checking. I'm like rotating between the rooms, So let's just start off with some high level, really high level. I'm thinking about a private label product. Like, what's 1 or 2 things you might just tell me to do if I'm thinking about, I want to create or launch a private label product in 2021? Just 1 or 2 high level things.
I got one. So I'll start if you guys don't mind. So one of the reasons why I would tell people to do that is because when you're talking about being a business owner and you don't have a lot of time, right? There are a lot of private label people that do content for you. right? So there's PLR that takes care of content that you can go out and you can purchase the rest of that content, and then you can use that content for your social media. You can use that content for course development and delivering courses. You can use that content for so many different things that, and guess what? It saves you time, right? Because a lot of us get analysis paralysis when it comes to thinking about, what am I going to do for my social media? What am I going to put on my website? What kind of freebie am I going to give? There are so many PLR, private label rights, where you can go out and get an ebook, right? You can go out and you can get the information that is very specific to your industry, and then you can look like an expert. And then what you do is you can build the rest of your strategy around those pieces. Also, I tell people that what if you have information, but you're only consistent 2 days a week, but you want to stay in touch with your market? PLR stuff can really help you with staying consistent from a content perspective.
Tiffany, do you mind? PLR is not an acronym that I'm familiar with, and I don't know. So can you tell us what you're talking about when you're saying PLR?
So when I say PLR from a content perspective and a training perspective, we're talking about private label rights. So that means that there is content that someone has written, and they are giving you you purchase it, membership or one-time offer, and they are giving you the rights to be able to utilize their content. And it's kind of the same even when you talk about, so I'll give you an example, and you guys can talk more about this because I'm gonna pass the baton off in a second, right? But when we talk about people who are in the service industry, a lot of times what they really need is content. So they want to go out to content developers who have already written things. They've already put templates together. They've already done ebooks. They've already done blogs. And they want to take that information and they want to be able to put their logo and brand it for their organization. And that is so helpful because it's time. It saves time. Also, they've already done all the research. They've done everything that you need. And then now they've packaged it up for you to be able to present it to your audience. So for me, I like to tell people that from a service perspective, PLR is amazing. Now, here's where I pass the baton. Even if you have a service business, and let's say you have a business like I have a blog, which is an entrepreneur's addiction, and I decided to do a product line. Well, I don't make candles. I don't I don't print stuff and put it on coffee mugs, right? I don't do hair care products. I don't do any of that. But I would absolutely love to find a PLR person that would allow me to put my logo on it and save myself some time and then put that out to my market or my audience. So that's where Tiffany passes the baton, because that is you guys' specialty.
So I'm gonna marry the two together. So you're talking about private label content and we're talking about private label products. So the way you marry those two together, going back to, you said the hair care product. So if there's somebody out there that's writing private label content, that private label content, and you have a private label product, there's a couple of different things that can happen there. You could potentially connect you with an influencer that actually will allow you guys, whoever's buying that private label content may also be a person that has a blog, and they may be an influencer, and maybe they will showcase, do an unboxing or something with your private label product to get you going, get you some traffic. They might be a micro influencer. And so that way you have the opportunity, maybe they can showcase your specific product somewhere in that article or in that blog or whatever the case may be. So I think there's an opportunity there. We're talking about like physical products, like Amy invents stuff. She invents stuff for cats and other stuff. She does a lot. So the two, you can work the two together and connect that private label.
And sometimes that gets confused. So I've never heard it called private label rights, but what I refer to as that is white label. So white label is when you're taking an existing product, something that someone else has already made or content that someone else has already made, and you're allowing them to put their logo on it.
Right.
And so, but it's commonly called, in the greater industry, it's commonly called private label. So we even have a lot of private label sellers who think they're doing private label because they're putting their label on an existing product. And that's really actually white label, but that's okay. It's just the important part to know about if you want your own private label. The important part to know about that is that the private label means that you have something that is differentiated and you can own that differentiation. So like with the stuff that Michael has, or I keep saying Mike has with Dropify, right? He's got really great supplements and everything like that. And commonly that's called private label, but what you're actually doing is taking a high quality product and you're white labeling it. You're putting your label on it. And that's okay. There's space in the market for both things. There's space in the market for, and what you might, the question that Nicole originally asked is, what should we be thinking about if we're going to think about starting a private label? And so my answer to that question is to kind of piggyback off what Tiffany said. What are you already doing? So if you have nothing right now, number one, if you've never sold online before, and you're just looking for business opportunities, then you may want to start with white label, because then you're not going to necessarily have to invest in a trademark and in all of these things, in the intellectual property that can cost you a lot of money, a lot of setup
inventory
costs. Yeah. So you might want to start with something like white label, where you can find an existing, or print on demand, whatever, where you can find an existing product and you can put it on the market, or even buying a product from a wholesale supplier that represents a product that isn't in the marketplace yet. I know Nicole's thing is bundles. She loves to do bundles, and that represents a unique product that isn't on the market yet in that form. So you might find, if you're just looking to get started, you might find either Michael's Dropified stuff, where he's offering the ability. I know we're not going to be able to stop now.
It's all good. As long as
we're on the Michael train. It's going to be Michael for the rest of the night.
I'm not in trouble. That's all that matters. If I could change my name, I'd do it right now. But we'll stick with Michael.
But I think Michael sounds so sophisticated. It makes you sound really smart. You should get some glasses while we're here. So, if you guys are just looking to get started, when you're starting a private label, you do want to put a little bit more time into your planning. You do want to, I had somebody asked a question in my group today, and they said, I have somebody who's just kind of launching a product. Do they really need to trademark? And that's the answer to that question is, and my answer was, have they ever sold anything online? Are they just testing that product? Or do they have a business plan for a full-on private label brand, right? If they have a business plan and they're planning to launch 6 products over the next year, well then, you better get your trademark in, and you better get moving on this plan, get it moving forward, right? What differentiates you from the rest of the market? But if you're just looking to get started, if you're just looking to dip your toe, then look at all the opportunities that are out there to be able to build something without a huge investment and kind of learn the ropes. And when you do that, you're going to learn so much. Like Mike was talking about earlier, you're going to learn so much. You're going to make so many mistakes, right? And that's okay, because those mistakes when you don't have inventory are okay. Those mistakes when you haven't bought 3,000 units from a supplier are okay. Those kind of mistakes when you haven't invested in a mold. Like for me, I invented a product that required a giant mold, and that cost tens of thousands of dollars, many tens of thousands of dollars. So I needed a plan, and I needed some validation to make sure that I wasn't going to lose my investment. So that to me is the difference. If you're wanting to get started, the answer to the question is, do you have a plan? And do you know exactly how you're going to dominate your niche? Do you know exactly what your plan is for the next few products? And if you do, then yes, take on a private label, write a business plan, treat it like a business, and really take on your private label, look at differentiating and product development. And if you don't, if you're just like, well, I see there's an opportunity here and I want to learn more about it, then take advantage of the other products that are already on the market that you can sell and really get out there and get moving.
Yes.
We have a question.
Yeah, we do. But I'm gonna let Mike share his answer, and then we'll get the question. We're letting the questions build up. We got one. So what is your?
Job, Aisha.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Go, Mike.
Well, if you want, Nicole, I can fill time here with. I have a life story that we could cover in the next. No,
no, we're not going to do that.
Oh,
we're
okay.
going to answer Mrs. Brown's question. But anyway, go ahead.
So it's funny because I get this question. Oh my gosh, all the time on how do I get started? What product do I pick? And I just tell people, like, honestly, guys, there's a lot that you got to do. Like, there's a lot of steps. Once you're in it, but you also have to get motivated, right? And part of the thing that gets you super motivated at the beginning is you got to find a product, figure out who your audience is, figure out the story you're gonna sell it on, and then the second that you can get to the numbers doesn't have to be complicated. It's what are you buying it for? What are you gonna sell it for? Is the market already used to that? And what do you bring to the table that's different than what anyone else is bringing to the table? Just it can be one thing, and doesn't have to even be with the product. So when Amy's talking about things like true private label, which is like almost a form of patent, if you will, at some level, you're not patenting your product. I mean, she is, but like you're not necessarily patenting something that you're getting from Alibaba or something like that. But you got to think of it like that. Like, what am I doing that's different? And it could be in the product itself. It could be in the bundling feature that maybe no one else has, no one else is even looking at. It could be in the customer service side of things. Like maybe you're actually bringing on a couple of VAs instead of it being just a giant, bunch of FAQs. Like there's so many variants, but those would be my steps. Is you got to pick a product, figure out who your audience for that product is, find the store that you want to sell on, whether that's Amazon or Shopify, WooCommerce, or actually a brick and mortar storefront or a service industry or something like that. Get to the numbers. What's your actual profit margin? That way you know how much money you are allowed to spend before it starts losing you money, right? And then if you can figure that out, and then ultimately, I think it's the one question that every single person has to answer before they launch any product is what problem are you trying to solve with this with this product? If you can answer that question, what product are you trying to solve? Then you're getting started. Then your toes are dipped in the water, and then you can move on to the next barrel of steps, which is actually creating your storefront and getting your product designed and a bunch of all the other things. So I'll stop there because I'm seeing questions come through. But
they're starting to come in. Yay, we getting questions. So I'm just going to answer that question as well. I think I'm going to take pieces of what Tiffany said and then also what you guys said. So there's a lot of people out here who are, they've been content creators and now they decide they want to launch a product, or maybe they know an audience. So I have an autistic child. So I live in the special needs space. I hang out with people. So I have two choices. Well, maybe three. I could actually create something from scratch and be an inventor and develop something, or I can take products that are already out there and just, throw a label, put a branding, trademark and all that, and put a label on it, and it's mine, and I sell it on my site or whatever I decide to do. Sell it on Amazon, sell it on my site, whatever. But I think that there's, if there is something you know about, which is what Amy was saying earlier, if you already know something, then if you know a lot about it, the audience, that's going to make it a little bit easier if you decide you're going to launch a private label product for that audience, because you're already in that space. You know them, you're intimately involved with them, you know where to find them, you know where they live, you know what their needs are. So I'm going to start with, what do you already know? That's going to be a starting point for me. And then there's a whole bunch of a boatload of steps after that. But if there's something that you already are actively involved in, you live in that space, like for me, the autism world, I know a lot, then I have a better chance of potentially finding a successful private label product, white label product, than somebody who maybe they fix cars for a living and they don't have an autistic child and they don't know anything about it and they want to try and sell products to people who have special needs kids. Like I'm probably gonna have a better chance of knowing what the keywords are that people are searching, because I'm searching. I'm probably gonna know what they need because I'm already looking for it. Like I have a better chance at that. So what do you know? Start with that if you're thinking
Yes.
private label product in 2021, and then build on it. You know, where you already active, where you already present, and then kind of, you know, using all of your, you know, your knowledge and maybe content to, you know, hone in on that and maybe figure out what is that solution that everybody needs, or a solution that you can bring to the table that would solve a lot of people's problems.
Otherwise, you're
it's
just creating. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's also about being open-minded, right? So a lot of times people search for certain things and they may find it or may not find it. And so like I was mentioning, so there's a organization called PLR.me, and that's what they do. They do content, right? So when we're thinking about private label rights, even for a person that has a product or a person that has a service, really understanding the full breadth of what private label rights are. It's not just inventing something. It is literally someone saying, I created this and I'm allowing you to brand it and use it. And that matters because we have so many service-based businesses that want to step into products. But we also have some people who have products that, let's be realistic, when COVID hit, there were some people that did their supply chain shut down, right? They were depending on so many things. I have friends who had Amazon accounts where they were selling, but it sucked. So because it sucked, they switched over to Walmart, right? So the point that I'm making here is that being open-minded about what these concepts are about and how you can be innovative in incorporating all of those things in your business model. That's what really matters.
Go ahead, Amy, and then we'll answer this question.
I was just going to build on what you said, Nicole, about, you know, really starting with what you know, because ultimately I've had a lot of clients who have launched products that they know nothing about the customer, and it causes them nothing but problems, and they end up creating a job for themselves that they don't even like. So it's so important, you know, you want to leave your job. That's the whole point, right? You want to fire your boss. You want to build your own business. But if you don't like what you're doing, buying is an emotional experience. It is something that we want to feel connected to what we're buying. We want to feel like the value that we're paying for it is the value we're getting in return. The amount we're paying for it is the value we're getting in return. So, you know, definitely, I agree 100%. Start with what you know and build on that, because it makes it a lot easier. You already know those pain points, so you can look for opportunities. And you don't have to invent something. You know, very little of what I sell is an invention. And so sometimes because I'm an inventor, people are like, ooh, I don't know if I want to work with you, Amy, because I'm not creative. I'm not going to invent something. It's like, you don't have to invent something. You just have to know what people's needs are and be able to recognize opportunities. That's as simple as it is. So, but yeah, definitely. And I can start by answering Aisha's question about when you're brand new, what MOQ should you start with for private label or white label? I would like to tell you, Aisha, that this really, it depends on your launch and what you're doing.
Silver bullet.
Yes, because in the beginning, if you have no experience, of course, I want you to start with a small order. If you can, start with a small order. A little hack that I'll give you is even if a supplier has a larger MOQ than you're ready to order, you can ask a supplier what the surcharge is for ordering less than the MOQ. And they will sometimes give you a very small surcharge, like maybe, you know, 30 cents a unit or something like that. Depends on the product, of course. But that is often, you can sometimes order less than the MOQ that way. So that's a little hack there. But in terms of what you should start off with, of course, I want you to start small. I want you to start with the minimum viable product when you're doing white label, private label, because you're just learning, right? When you're just learning, you want to start, you want to get customer feedback. You want to make sure everything is good, right? But it's going to also depend on the platform that you're selling on. So if you're selling just on your Shopify store, then that's one thing. You know, you might be able to get away with, 50 units or something because it's only one store. But you have to remember, if you're selling on a larger platform like Amazon, If you only send 20 units in and you're trying to get enough feedback from the customer to understand if this is the right product for you, number one, remember Amazon's big thing is Prime, right? That means that Amazon needs to be able to fulfill your products within 2 days to the customer. So if you only send in 20 units, chances are they will make it to maybe 2 fulfillment centers, which means your products will not even show up in search for half the country or 3/4 of the country. So you're not even giving your products a fair chance if you're only sending in 20. I had a client call the other day and this person sent in 2 and was wanting a plan to get data. And I was like, you're not going to get data with 2. And they had saw this technique on a YouTube video. And I was like, this is not a technique. There's no way to get data with 2. You know,
right.
Now you could take those 2 out to a local market and ask questions, ask customers what they think about them, how much they would pay for them. You can do market research ahead of time with 2, right? But you really can't get enough data. So what you want to do is you want to look at, okay, what am I doing? What's my plan? And what data do I need with this first launch? And so I would say a minimum of 100 units is what you want. If you're going to be launching an e-commerce, you really want to be able to sell through at least 100 units, right? And get some feedback and make sure you're showing up in search, maybe run some ads, get some keywords going, understand what people are clicking on, why they're clicking on it, you know, all of that kind of stuff. For learning purposes, I would start with 100 units, and maybe other people have a different opinion.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, Amy. I think the key here is you have to also understand how if we're talking specifically Amazon, you have to really understand how Amazon works and what is going to help you. And it is different than other platforms, right? Like Shopify is so different, and WooCommerce is and WooCommerce and Shopify are so different. But if you're going to look at just Amazon, I'll tell you what we do is we're very specific on 2 things. One, on what our launch strategy looks like. So we have a number of groups that we are just a part of, and this is just our chance to kind of really help each other get organic reviews. And so we will actually have people buy our stuff, and you know, we try as hard as possible to keep them quite removed. So we'll create unique groups as much as possible to help us buy those. Knowing and understanding that if everyone did submit a review, Amazon's not even just going to let them through. Like there's only a certain number of reviews that they'll even let through on initial launch. But like we would probably do that. Like I think for us, we would usually give away, quote unquote, give away or have people at a discount. And I don't know about you, Amy, but for us, usually at Amazon, we usually get away with about 50-60% discount on it. We used to be able to do 99%, and that was fine. But then they started catching on to what people are doing. But
I don't do giveaways at all.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay.
No, because differentiated products, knowing your market, you don't need to do giveaways. They're happy to pay full price. Slight discounts, yes, I do coupons at launch and make sure that my products are very competitively priced. But I like to come to market with that product that's going to stand out on the page. I'm going to pay for some PPC, get it to the top of page 1, and people are going to choose it over other products on the page. And I do that from the very beginning. But if you're selling common products, that's something to consider. You're going to have to work in giveaways.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I mean, but the other thing to think about too is now there's all these free ways that you can do it on Amazon, like Amazon Live, which everyone is starting to connect to on .com, right? And so you have the ability to go in there and put your videos out there and coupons and things like that. It's almost like a what do you call it? Midnight TV, right? You know, just all those infomercials that are sitting on a page. So, and then you have external traffic that you can bring in. But the whole point is, if you have to understand the platform that you're working on when you think about your MOQs, consider that you're going to be needing some of those orders for things like your content creation. So when you're getting things like videos put together, this is just something that, again, that we do, but I always probably order about 25 just for myself to go and actually hand out free to the community. So I'm not asking them to purchase or anything like that. Or if I am, I'm asking them to buy it off of my store, not my Amazon store, but I'll have them buy it off my Shopify store or WooCommerce store. so that I can start seasoning my pixel properly. And because Facebook's rules are so different to what Amazon's rules are when it comes to that stuff. So you can really gamify or really game the system when it comes to that side of things. But the reason I do that as well is because I want them to use, I want them to help me social proof it, because if on my product, on my brand, and this is just something that we've been doing more of, and I think everyone should do this, is start getting more of where people can find you, putting on your product. So if you have the ability to actually white label or actually create the design and custom design, oh my gosh, don't waste that real estate. Like just put things like your social medias on there, your toll-free numbers if you have them, your websites. Heck, even put coupons in there. I know people put slips in sometimes, give us a free review and whatever. I mean, I'm not into that stuff, but I'm definitely on utilizing real estate. So make sure that's there, but also you have to make sure that those other platforms, like your website and Facebook, fan pages and Instagram channels, that they're seasoned, right? Like that they have the content that people are looking for, which is right. I want to make sure I'm not the first, right? And I think that's just generally with people, and Amazon is no different. I don't really want to be first. That's why getting those first 5 or 10 reviews can be such a pain sometimes. And that's why for me, if my strategy is a bit different than Amy's, that's fine, because there's lots of strategies. But it's, you got to get to those 10 reviews. So knowing that first 10 reviews is going to probably take me 50 products, we usually order anywhere between 200 to 300 MOQs. Minimum, yeah. Right? Because I just told you, I have 25 just for myself for content. There's another 50, so that's 75 that's there. And there's 125. And if I've done my job right, people are going to be buying those things at least at 2 to 10 a day at get-go.
Mike, can I add to that you can also look up your competitors and try to pick your closest competitor. Don't pick the top seller on the page, because you're not going to start at their numbers. Pick your closest competitor, like someone else who's launched kind of recently, who's doing pretty decent on the page. Pick them and
like 10
look
reviews,
at their numbers.
25 reviews, like really like something that's
and then look at how much they're selling per month, and then take like 75% of that and multiply it by 30 and get yourself 3 months stock.
Yeah, exactly.
I love to start with 3 months stock, especially if you're sourcing from China, because usually you have like 60 to 90 days lead time. Sometimes it's like 3 to 4 weeks of production and then 30 days on the boat, right? Yeah. So, and you don't want to necessarily have to pay for expensive air shipment unless it's a really small product. But yeah, I just wanted to add in the thing about inventory, like trying to estimate your inventory. But please continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry.
I was just going to add something, because she says when you're brand new. So I want to make sure I jump in here. So I hear everything that they're saying. But for a person that's brand new, that like literally sounded like the Charlie Brown's parents to me. And that's okay. But I want to make sure that if you're absolutely brand new, what they're really saying to you is you got to do your research. Yeah. So it's super important. So thinking about being brand new and you want to enter into this, you want to research the product that you are considering selling. And you want to look at this is all business planning and business strategy. Like we can't move past that, right? Because you have to do that. So you want to research your product. You want to see what your competition is doing. You want to see how they're selling it. And then you also have to understand that when you make the decision to place an order, know that you need to do some beta testing, right? So you want to get it in. You want to test it for yourself and see if you even like it. Like, can you position that product? Do you care about it? Does it do what you're saying it's going to do? Do you feel confident enough about building content around it? Does it match your brand, right? That's important. If you're selling things that match your brand. And then the next thing is that you may want to have like a group of people who support you, who will give you feedback and say, yeah, I'd buy that for that amount. Or no, I wouldn't buy that for that amount. That product sucks, Tiffany. I don't want to buy it, right? So you need to know that, because that's part of planning. And so for me, I literally for my MOQ, I was like, hey, what's the least amount I could buy? Because I'm not 100% sure. And then really building the relationship with they were like, normally it's 100. But because I like you, And because I really think I can build with you, they literally were like, okay, I'll let you do 75. Right. And I was like, okay, cool. That worked. And it just so, and guess what, y'all? They sent me free stuff first. They were like, you know what? We're just going to send you some samples. And then you tell me what you think. And then we'll figure it, because I want to build a relationship with you. So I just wanted to throw that in for the newbies, because they're really, the minimum amount is really according to your research and how you feel about what it is that you are embarking on.
Yes, that's a great point.
And if you're brand new and you don't know what MOQ, that's minimum order quantity. So I just wanted to, we have an acronym. I just want to make sure we cover.
And I have a golden rule: when I source, I don't mention minimum order quantities.
Never. No,
you don't say that to that's a bad way to start off, by going to a supplier and saying, what's the MOQ? Yeah. That supplier is not, they're in mass manufacturing. They're not going to be excited to work with you if you're starting off with like, how much does this cost and how little can I order?
I want to buy 2.
Yeah, and as Tiffany said, it's all about relationship building. You do want to build a relationship with that supplier. So very good.
The only other thing I would probably chime in with is, if you're thinking about private label and white label, maybe and MOQ, like when you're looking at, if you're just thinking about budget, I mean, that's what you're talking about ultimately with MOQ, unless you're really talking about inventory, stock, and things like that. But if you're brand new, your mind isn't really in stock. It's more in, how much is this going to cost me, right? And so if you're in that zone and you just don't really have a truckload of budget, maybe you seriously consider things like drop shipping, and you consider things like arbitrage, because that is crazy cheap. And you're not going to be getting near, the margins that you'd be getting with minimum order quantities, but that's really the only difference between the two, outside of maybe you can design it differently and customize it a bit. But if you can find a product, and again, it's kind of a tough question, because it's a very vague question. Depends on, like Amy said, it really depends on your product, right? Yeah. Is it a seasonal product? Is it a evergreen product, which means you can sell it in every season, right? Like, is it? And we got caught with that, right? Like, we got a toy, we sold out in like 2 weeks. I think we ordered 2,000 and we sold out in 2 weeks in Q4, and we thought that we had struck rich because we had the best product. And then all of a sudden, so we ordered 5,000 right after Chinese New Year, and we got stuck with it for until Q4 the following year, which means that we paid an arm and a leg in storage fees. And it was brutal, because every quarter that it sat, my storage fee kept going up and up and up, because my IP score kept going. It was just,
you wouldn't believe how many people I talked to that they sell through their first order, and then they just assume that their second order is going to sell well, and they don't take the time to plan before their second order and look at the competition and the market. And by the time they get their second order to market, the market is either saturated, or they can't sell it for some reason, or something happens, and they end up just, I have so many calls of people that come back to me and say, Amy, I don't know what happened. It sold so well the first time, and now it's just not working for us.
And these are loans that were taken out. These were credit cards that were maxed. Mm-hmm. These were like, you gave everything, because you said we found the stallion, and and it didn't work, and it's brutal. And so all I would say is, before we kind of dive super deep in the woods of that, because it can get pretty nasty, is you also got to think about your budget. Right. So if you want to, by no means do you have to not start until you have $10,000, $20,000 or $30,000. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, maybe one way that you can enter the market is by selling someone else's stuff and seeing how good you are at it, and start beating them on the actual community end, on the brand end, right? And being next level, using something like arbitrage, which is super easy to get into.
Yeah, or print on demand is
or print on demand. Yeah,
print on demand is the least expensive form of white label. It is the least expensive form
and use that
white label.
Right, you can use that as your beta to build your audience, right?
Yes.
And get people to know, like, and trust you. And then that way, when you move up, so I'm going to share with you, in my world, that's called aging inventory, and aging inventory is a beast, right? You have to plan for that. You absolutely have to plan for it, because, in your business planning, contingency planning, what do you do with inventory that you can't offboard? Like, what do you do with it? Right. So now you're looking at, and if you guys don't know, there is advertising, promotion, and There is also, so I'm sorry, advertising, marketing, and promotion. Those are all very different things. But understanding that now you're getting at a point where you're kind of cutting into your profit when your inventory is aging, because now you just need to get rid of it because you need a contingency plan for storage and other stuff. So again, that's just about planning and making sure that you're doing your research and finding out what
Yeah.
can you get and what can you get rid of and when can you get rid of it and what kind of profit can you make from it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we have another question. This one has to do with, says you can't go to the Canton Fair or ASD Source Direct now due to the pandemic. Well, I'm going to say there is going to be an ASD Roadshow. There's one coming to Dallas. It's next month. It's like, you have to look it up. It's like if you go to ASD Live or something like that, I think it's like March the 22nd or something like that. But go look it up.
I gotta come visit you next month then.
Yes,
you gotta go to ASD. Let's do it.
Let's
Sorry.
do it. And JR's gonna be here too. So I'm excited. So I'm gonna have visitors. I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth area. So that's how I know. And I think there's also one in Florida, and I forget the other place, but there is going to be Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
there's
just
a
looking at
small
the website
one
right now.
Yeah, they're all smaller shows. They're not big shows. But anyway, so there is still that. But if you're a person that doesn't want to get out, I get that. I get it. So
I got some hacks.
yes, we do have some hacks. So one of my hacks is that, on all of the trade show and road show type of websites, whether it's ASD or something else, they normally have a list of vendors where you can just go and scan through that list really quick and be able to find maybe something that is in your realm, in your niche or similar, and then connect with them to find out who their manufacturer might be. I also love to go to the store and I got products. I always have products on at all times. So I just turn the label around and read the back of it and find out, like if I'm going to sell something similar, I'm going to go to the store. I'm literally going to take my phone and I'm going to take pictures of almost everything that's in that section that is similar to what I'm about to sell. So I can contact all those manufacturers, wholesale suppliers, distributors, whatever. And so that will get you started as well. If you're doing something completely new that doesn't exist on the shelf anywhere, again, what is its partner, buddy? Where does it live? What's its family? So when you think about, okay, I'm going to introduce something that's brand new that doesn't exist for cats. Okay, well, you're still, you're selling something that's for cats. What realm of cats? Cat healthcare, cat food, cat. What is it? And then go look at those labels, and maybe you can, come up with a list of manufacturers, suppliers, distributors that you could potentially connect with, or have them connect you with somebody else. So that's Go ahead, Amy.
I've got a list of things that you guys can do, because I have a sourcing trip to the Canton Fair and it's been canceled for a little while now. So I have a lot of people that are in the same situation as you, Sharon. And so I want to give you some resources that you can use, and hopefully everybody can use these resources. First of all, the easiest, most obvious resource are websites like Alibaba, 1688, all global sources, all those types of websites that list manufacturers, trading companies, everything else. The most important thing when you use websites like that, because many of the manufacturers listed are actually third-party salespeople that are marking up the price, is to remember to actually vet your suppliers. Just because you can't visit them in person doesn't mean you can't set up a meeting. Get on WeChat, set up a meeting with them, have a conversation, have them show you around the showroom, have them talk to you about their company, all that kind of stuff. So that's the best thing that you can do. Don't have a pen pal relationship with a supplier on Alibaba. That's dangerous. That you're not vetting that supplier. You're not making sure that they're the company that they say they are. So go ahead and use those repositories. They're great, but make sure you're vetting your suppliers, set up meetings, make sure you're talking with them, you're having conversations, you're learning more about the products, all of that. The second way that you can find manufacturers is through reverse sourcing. And you can do this. The import records in the US are actually public. So what you can do is you can use websites like Panjiva, and there's one called Import Yeti, for example, and you can look up brands and find who their suppliers are. So that is a great way. I love Nicole's tip about how you go to the store and I did that when I was launching my cat litter box cleaner invention. I was like, what distributors are in this store? You know, I need to reach out to them. I need to know them. They need to be one of my clients, right? So we got some B2B action going on there, right? But do that. Look at those reverse search sourcing engines and check those out. That's a great way to find suppliers. The third way is a good old Google search, right? Put in, if you're looking for things like, you know, Tiffany said PLR, if you're looking for that, being able to buy some private label rights, you can go to plr.me, I think Tiffany said. But the other thing is, if you're looking for private label suppliers in the US, the easiest Google search to do is private label, whatever the product is, USA. You want to make your own blend of teas, private label tea, USA. That's the easiest way to find them. And then of course, you always have to vet them. You always have to do that. Another Google search, blank manufacturers, China, blank manufacturers, India, whatever the product is, the product type, and then the manufacturer type, and then wherever you're looking for it, right? That's another great way to find suppliers, a simple Google search. The next way is a factory referral. You may already have suppliers that you work with. Give them a call. It was funny when this pandemic happened, when it started, one of my suppliers, it's a cut and sew factory, they sent me KN95 masks. And they said, Amy, do you need anything? We're sending you some masks. We just want you to be safe. And I reached out back to them and I was like, well, actually, we need more. We need more masks. Do you know any other factories that are actually making authentic masks? And they were able to give me better information than I was able to even find from people that I know on the ground in China, right? Which brings me to my last option here, which is also a good option, and that is a sourcing agent or a sourcing agency. Reach out to a sourcing agent or a sourcing agency, ask them. There's of course many different types of sourcing agents, but make sure that you know you're upfront with them, that you interview them, that they specialize in the product that you're actually trying to source. If they tell you they can source everything, like I could talk about this literally, that's why there's 50 hours on it in my course anyway. But your sourcing agent, they're on the ground already. And so you may find a sourcing agent that specializes in your type of product, and they're going to be able to find lots of different factory options for you. And I know the other people on this panel are going to also have a lot of great tips for finding suppliers.
I literally have not a tip about finding suppliers.
And I stole your thunder. I put the PLR thing out there. See, I learned from you today.
But I'm so super transparent. Let me tell you, I heard Amy say that for those newbies that are on, that really mattered to me is she said, when you're doing this, you want to think about it's possible that your competition can be your clients. Why does that matter? Because what you're doing in your business can be so innovative. It could be something that no one else has thought of. You may have gone out and done all your research because that's your jizz. You love to research and you found this product that can really bring a benefit to the life of your client who might be your competition. Maybe they didn't do that kind of research. And so maybe you have listened to Amy and you've got these amazing hacks and you go out and you build these relationships, because remember, this whole supply chain thing, it's really about building relationships.
Yeah.
It's about really understanding who provides what you need and can be consistent. And that is about research and business planning. So what I want to tell you guys is just to understand that don't be afraid to consider everyone your customer. Like, even if they're your competition, it's possible that they could be your customer because you might be out there doing something that is so amazing that they haven't thought about. And then that's another stream of revenue for you. So the only thing I can tell you about suppliers is this, you guys, you've got to be knee deep in that, in building relationships, because one of the things I teach people in risk management and in business planning is when your supply chain shuts down, you are literally out in the cold. Your booty is cold, like for real. Like that's your booty out. So you have to.
I
tell
like this
people,
lady. I like her a lot.
you have to have a depth chart. And I like to, if you know football or if you know sports, there's a depth chart, right? So you have the supplier that you know, like, and trust, and you work with them the most often. They're the most consistent, and that's the people you love and you do the best. But you need to have other people, because you don't know what's going to happen in the economy for them. You don't know what's going to happen in their business. So you have to have other people in your depth chart, and then you have to continue to throw business to them. Whether you don't, even if you don't work with them as often, throw them referrals, right? And that's about building the relationships, because your supply chain is your bread and butter. I don't, if it's, whether it's the white label, PLR, whatever it is, they're your bread and butter, especially when you're doing this kind of work. So make sure that you keep those relationships consistent. That's what I got.
All right, that's good.
I don't know if there's much more on the table. I mean, yeah, that's a big repository of answers right there. I mean, I would definitely agree with, oh gosh, with Amy. My hand is hurting because I was just writing down all this stuff.
I did too. I was writing notes as she was talking.
And I freaking forgot that this is. I can go back and look at this.
Yes, you can.
Kind of mad at myself right now. But yeah, I would just say I think it's just a general rule when it comes to business. Period, is don't have all your eggs in one basket. If there's anything that I've learned, just in my experiences, and even just at Dropified, when we're thinking about the supplements, we got hit with COVID pretty hard with some of our suppliers. And if it wasn't for Chase and Lowell, our CEOs, my goodness, those guys are so freaking smart, because they recognize this. They say, well, you know what? There are no endless wells. There something will dry up, whether it's in a month, a year, 10 years, 50 years, it will dry up. If they think they can just, keep producing the exact same things the exact same way, because there's not an unlimited resource out there. And so getting, filling your funnel, if you will, with a number of different suppliers. And it's interesting because actually, Amy, the way that you're saying it, I want to come back to Sharon's question here, but just quickly is the way that I've always kind of done private label is I always start with the person that's lots of samples. I would get samples from 3 or 4 different people that after I vet them, and I would go in, I would do exactly, and what Amy's saying is spot on. Get on a call with them, ask them to show you the factory, not just their booth, and all that, but ask them, jump on a call, ask them to show you the factory. If they're showing you the factory, it's a lot less likely they're the wholesale company, because they're showing you the actual manufacturing process. I would ask for referrals from other people that have worked with them. Usually people are pretty quick to hand those, but if you can jump on 2 calls or 3 calls for people that you're serious about, and this might sound like a lot of work outside of going to a booth in, these conferences, but you got to think about what you're doing here. This is essentially your livelihood that you're trying to replace, right? If you're working 9 to 5 and you don't want to do that anymore, you don't just give this to the cheapest person, or you don't just give this to the biggest person, to the one that deals with Walmart exclusively. You got to find the right person, and that takes relationship. And I'll tell you, I don't know if we got lucky, but just in doing that and in doing that due diligence, there's a couple things that we have right now. We've actually had to shift gears, not because our suppliers jump ship or anything like that, but because they weren't able to do for us what we needed. Is we would have the supplier, and I'm thinking about our toy company. For one of our products, we had a supplier that gave us exactly what we wanted for the price that we wanted. They're a little bit smaller, but they were able to accomplish what we needed to in the time frame that we wanted, and gave us amazing quality. So we're pretty happy with them. And then, but we also had 2 or 3 that were, their MOQs were much higher. Their pricing was around the same, but they could give us the relationship with a lot of retailers, and that was kind of one of the things they were boasting. And we were really interested in that. And so kind of like what Nicole was saying is like Tiff was saying, is we started throwing just the odd call to them every couple months. Hey, just want to see how you guys are doing. Hey, if we were to switch over to you here for a 10,000 MOQ order, would you be able to, what kind of time frames would you be looking at? And we're kind of being a bit, sassy that way, because it's like we're not actually going to order 10 grand with them right now, but
you're just stringing them along. You're
just a little bit. But the thing is, we just want them to know that we're real, that we just want them to know we exist, because again, as a salesman, right, I'll tell you what, I will stay hooked on that line. If someone's going to say, hey, listen, in 6 months here, we're thinking about hitting Walmart and Costco and whatever. And I'm going to need the right vendor, but what can you do for me? Oh my gosh, I'm telling you. And then actually, eventually we did end up going over there.
Yeah. I'm going to stay connected to you. Like I'm not going to worry your nerve, but I am going to touch base with you at least once a month. Like at minimum.
And that also lets them know that you're still on my mind in the back of the mind.
Right.
And that you're a real company, you're not just what everyone's trying to do right now and get 1,000 fidget spinners. Well, that's probably a couple years ago now, but it's like, you're not just like the next person trying to catch the wave and then you're piecing out and that's it. They want longevity.
Mike,
that's what
did you sell fidget spinners?
I did not. No, I missed that. Truth. I missed that train. I was the idiot that was buying them for $20 at Indigo.
Are you serious? Oh my God, I could have got you a much better deal.
Well, I know you back there. But to answer your question, Sharon, you know what? Like, you don't need to go to fairs to figure this out. If anything, the fair, and just being a trade show kind of guy myself, I mean, those people are putting their best foot forward, and that's great because you want to see the quality that's there. But you also need to know like what's behind the scenes, and that's what Amy's talking about: getting on a phone call and actually seeing the manufacturer. I had no idea how small the manufacturer that does our toys actually is. I couldn't believe how fast they were pushing out the toy for how small it was. Like, it was probably the size of what you're seeing behind me here. I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable. And yet I was like, whoa, like, is that legit? Like, does it pair as a hot dog vendor? I don't know. Right. But but they were good and they were willing to show us, and it was really good.
And when you're talking about other countries, though, the expectation is so different. So I worked at Samsung for 6 years, and I worked in their device development department. And so I had call centers in 6 different countries, and we did repairs on devices. And what we did here in the States, like compared to what happened in other countries, I was like, wow, like, hold on a second. Y'all have less people and you produce way more work than we do here in the States. What's that all about? And just really understanding, like, it happens. It's like the value of the work. But like you said, really understanding, like, let me see what it is that you're doing and where you're doing it and how that's working. Because the last thing you want is, like, I tell people, so I do marketing too, but you don't want a PR nightmare when people find out about who you're working with. So you need to know that who you're working with matches with your brand, if that makes any sense.
And actually, on that topic of brand, I don't want to shift gears too much here, Nicole, because what are we done now? Are we out? It's been an hour.
We are almost done, but no, keep going.
Well, I'll tell you this, and this is where Amy and I think we're going to have a lot more fun in the future here together. If she can ever get off her invention train and jump on the supplements with me here, but so here's the fun part. And this is the beautiful part about print on demand. And it's my favorite thing of all time with print on demand, with anything. It could be on shirts, mugs, hats, t-shirts, tennis things if people still wear those. But the thing is if you don't know what your brand is, like, that's a big topic. And you know what? I don't want people to think that they have to have a brand before they start selling products, because the thing is you may need to figure out, like, you might like Amy said, you might sell the wrong product. Like, I just finished buying 20,000 masks, and I have 18,000 of those masks sitting here because of the stupid shipping problem. So for me, my brand is not health and safety, right? My brand is completely different from that. I'm just using masks to help bring customers to my brand, right? So that I just kind of want to differentiate those. But what something like print on demand can do, different, so you don't actually have to face the nightmare that I just did with masks, where you didn't sell the way that you wanted to, and now you're sitting with kind of what Tiff's saying, this aging inventory. You're like, what the heck was supposed to do with 18,000 masks? Then that's where something like print on demand can really, really help you, because you don't have any inventory, right?
Yes.
You could try out literally an unlimited number of ideas. An unlimited number of ideas. If I wanted to put an idea, if I wanted to create a mug just for Amy and I to say which Weiss is better, I or no I, right? 2 E's, what are we gonna do?
No I
could create. Well, we would see, but I can create. What we would do is we create a heat mug that when it's black and white, it would say WES, but it actually revealed WEISS. But or maybe it's Mike that turns into Michael because I'm in trouble. But I mean, who knows? That's the thing, is you can have so much fun with it. And that's just one idea. How long did it take you to get that idea down? Well, it's you spending $5 on Fiverr, or taking, maybe 5 minutes and
it may not even be 5 minutes. It may not even be $5 on Fiverr. I love print on demand.
It is amazing. So if you were to do that, now I'm not just saying live an entire life of just testing, because there's going to be a point where you actually find a bit of a home run. And that could be something like, I'm just trying to think of one of our products here, but that could be something like chill out, CBD gummies, right? And maybe the way I wrote chill out and people love chill out and that ends up becoming a thing, fine, right? Then if that's the end of the game here, then I don't want to keep testing a bunch of ideas when I found a gold mine, right?
It was a dummy for me.
Exactly. Well, yeah. And that's the thing, is you're going to now say, hey, listen, I want to learn more about CBD gummies here. I want to dive into it. I want to actually say, how can I make this better? I'm going to reach out to the same way that Nicole and Amy are talking about reaching out to that manufacturer. Type in private label supplements in USA. I'm going to find out who they are. Say, do you guys do CBD gummies? Perfect. I have a brand. I have a label that's working. I want to tweak some stuff on the potency here. Would you be willing to do that? Let's talk about orders. And now you're actually going to be doing that. But again, you were making money that entire time because it's print on demand. The ideas aren't just sitting up here. They're getting out there on t-shirts. They're getting out there on mugs. They're getting out there on supplements. They're getting out there on coffee. They're getting out there on shampoo bottles. They're getting out there on dog support. They're getting out there on like headbands. They're getting out there on masks. They're getting out there on shorts. They're getting out there on stationery. They're getting out. They're just getting out there, right? They're getting out there on freaking books. Did you know that have you guys? I don't know if you guys have books published yet on Amazon Kindle, like self-published. You can do that now. You could give free Kindles. You can drive people to your store through a free Kindle book. You can use Tiffany's concept here about licensing with PLR. Jump in, make some tweaks, get a cover on there, put it on in Amazon ebook, start making $9.99, and say, hey, we're going to give you a free book here if you just sign up. Start building your client list. All because of stupid things like print on demand that just, I should say stupid, it's a really brilliant model. But
it is a brilliant model because you can do everything.
But if you do that, don't be afraid. Like, I have to get it right. And I'll tell you, I mean, I when you're talking about, like, I was this close to building a mold for one of the toys that we had. Amy, you have way more guts than I do, because when I found out how much that was going to cost, and with zero understanding of whether that was going to land or not, there's no way I was going to invest $15,000 for that mold. And it was for a toy. Your stuff is probably like rockets and stuff, right? But it's like actually functional things.
No, my thing actually just sifts poop. That's what it does.
It's way better than a toy.
They told me how much it was going to cost me to build a prototype for an idea I had. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, no, the world doesn't need that right now. I don't have it. Like,
the world can wait if you're solving a problem in the market, because your product life cycle is a lot longer, and no one, well, I mean, other people can copy you if they want to, but it's a little harder for them. But yeah, I don't regret it. It's really, it really is about, though, validation. It's about planning and validation, because you don't want to go invest a bunch of money in something that you haven't validated and that you don't know for a fact that people are going to buy and be excited about. So I did spend a lot of time. I got pre-orders. I spent a lot of time getting the market validating my concept, knowing that it was a problem that I was solving that actually needed to be solved, and there wasn't other reasonable alternatives that were going to solve it better, right? So it's all worth it though. But a lot of the other products I sell are very, very simple, and they make me really good money, even better money than my invented products.
Those are pride, though. Those are like, that's like,
well, when you get constant 5-star reviews and people are just like, oh my gosh, I had one lady she has like a famous cat page, and she made a video of our product using our product, and she wrote that it's the only reason she still has cats, and she has a famous cat page. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a big, bold claim, right? So it makes you feel really special when you bring something to, it's a long road to market to bring something like that to market, but it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, it's funny. We sit there and it's like, well, Nicole, I mean, we giggle a lot about supplements and just the private label stuff, but it's like in a day, I'll flip up a store with 20 brands that I just came up with. And my wife is sitting there 4 or 5 months later, creating and crafting the perfect slime kit that that she's making just a few changes to on like the book, or just onto the ingredients, or onto like the actual recipe. And she's so mad at me sometimes because she's like, Mike, like, what do you do all day? And I'm like, I come up with funny supplements and I
throw it up and see what happens.
And I market them and I see what happens. If it sticks, then I'm going to be putting a lot more time into those ones, and it's fun, right? But again, I think that's why people, like when we're talking about private label and white label, that's why I really like this panel, is because you have, and Amy said it, just come full circle. She nailed it right out of the gate at the very beginning. Is you got to think about those things as two very, very different things. Private label is like, this is something that you need to spend like a lot of time researching, measuring, make sure that you understand the market so that you're not foolishly just investing, a
lot of money,
2,000, 20,000, 200,000 into something without actually knowing the market for that, because that's just foolish. Right. I kind of sit on this end and I get to be foolish all the time because I don't invest any money in anything. I just come up with designs and I hit it against, an existing market and just see what sticks.
See what happens. Yep.
And then I'm able to kind of just pick it up and grow it organically that way. But I'm not going to actually build a brand that quickly that way. And my margins are not near what they could be for private label if you're taking it and doing MOQs and marketing it properly. So there's,
I will say you probably could build a brand that way, but you got to figure out, again, if you're messing
which
around,
one. Yeah,
you're just messing around. And so once you find something like, so there's a lady, we're going to wrap this up, but there's a lady in Atlanta. She was just ordering these workout pants. That's all she was doing, was ordering workout pants. She was ordering them dirt cheap off of AliExpress. And she was like, I wonder if I could get them with this design. So she asked them to make it with a certain design, not thinking at any point that she was going to brand anything. And so she's Instagram heavy. She has a whole bunch of followers. And so when people started hitting her up, like, well, where'd you get these pants? So at first the bells did not ring for her. And she was like, oh, I just went to this and I ordered. And then eventually she just like, these people will not stop asking me. So her husband was like, excuse me, you need to put your name. We need to think about a logo. We need to think about a brand. And so she has a huge brand now in workout, gear in Atlanta, but she was just messing around. She was looking on the site. She found some stuff she thought was cute. She was like, does it come in this color? Can you make it with this design on it? So she was just messing around and taking Instagram photos. And now she is a multi-millionaire because she was just messing around. So
fun. It's fun, especially, but she stayed in the same. I guess that's the thing. She stayed in the same.
Yeah,
kind of,
she stayed, but she eventually nailed it down into, okay, I'm going to now put my brand on these pants. I'm still going to use you as a manufacturer. We're going to negotiate some things, and so she worked it out.
I will say, if anyone's interested that listens to this, that's actually in the apparel or interested in doing apparel, like we're talking about a lot of different types of products, but I actually came across something. It was kind of a bit of a, I don't know if this is old shoe or if this is something new, but we for the mask, I mean, again, it cost us nothing. It cost us like 2 cents a mask or something. And it was so cheap because we actually ended up reaching out to an apparel company and they gave us, because the material is so small and the work on it was so minimal, to get it to that caliber, that quality that we needed. And we realized, why is it so cheap? Like, are we getting just a box of nothing? Like, do we just give this person, all this money and nothing came back? And what it was all the extra fabric. And so it was waste for them. And I was like, oh, So we're going to be putting out a bathing suit line, which I can't wait to show you. And we're
going to have to talk because my son, we're launching a Shopify store this year.
But you know what it is?
He wants to be the model. So I'm like, okay, let's do it.
I obviously am going to be the model, but the thing here is, I said if I could reach out to apparel manufacturers and just get an idea, like on smaller items, like for example, like man thongs, which I don't know why that's coming back, but and by the way, that is not what I'm going to be, modeling. That is going to be 100% photoshopped, and that's it. But it's whatever you can get for small fabric, and it's actually just the waist. And it's amazing how cheap they'll give it to you because they're throwing it out anyway. I don't know, Amy. I don't know if you know anything about that. Not man thongs, but like
she probably does not know anything about man thongs. She didn't even blink when you said it. I don't think she heard you.
No, I think it was so traumatic for her by hearing it. She is like instant block. Just nope.
I didn't hear any of that. I did want to point out one quick thing you mentioned that is for business owners, right? She was really talking about how she has a cornerstone, and her cornerstone is her invention, but she has other things that she sells that are adjacent to her branding and what she does. And that is so important for business owners to understand, because like if we talk about branding, right? And if we talk about maybe you do this, but you know that your audience also needs this. And so if you're already in front of them, so I'll give you an example. Like, I think that if you're doing something that's cat related, and then you want to turn around and you want to sell somebody like, a rocket, I don't know, maybe cats like rockets. But what I'm saying is that making sure that you're tying it to what you're doing. So if she sells something that cleans the litter, then you might also be adjacent to cat play things, like, the things that the cats scratch on and play around, right? So really understanding that anything that is adjacent to that is an opportunity for you, because you got cat people. And if you have cat people will buy cat things. And I think that's super important. And the only reason why I thought about that is because I also help nonprofit organizations, and I'm always qualifying them, and I'm always telling them, don't go to a cat person with a dog problem. Don't go to a dog person with a cat problem, because it's two totally different things. And most people will be like, I will care about a cat cause because I love cats. So always understanding that whatever it is that you're doing with your brand, make sure that it's adjacent, because in that way you can sell more things to the same target audience.
Yeah, it's knowing your audience. That's really it. So I don't know, Amy, is there anything you want to do before I wrap this up?
Nope, I think we're good.
All right, so
mugs, by the way, Amy, are we going to do a mug together?
Only if we put Weiss on it. With 2 E's and 1 S.
We can have Weiss on it all day, just the I, and yeah. I'll take it.
When you guys came on, I thought you were married, and I was like, did he spell his name wrong?
They both are. They're two different Weisses, but anyway, it's hilarious.
We both are married.
Yeah.
Just not to each other. I'm pretty sure no one would put up with me as long as my husband has put up with me. So, anyway.
I'm not going to say anything about that, because you are amazing. Amazing at home.
I think you're amazing. The name of your business says it. You're amazing at home. That's amazing. You're awesome.
All right. Well, this is this. So thank you guys for being part of the panel. I personally want to thank Miss Tiffany, Mr. Mike, we won't call you Michael, and Miss Amy. Thank you so much for being part of this panel. We hope that you all got some value. We hope you got some great content. We hope you will, continue watching the rest of the summit. We'll upload this video in about an hour or so. We are grateful for all those who registered. Grab the All Access Pass if you want to come back and listen to what Amy said again, or anything that Tiffany or Mike said, or anything that I said, if I added any value to this conversation. And make sure that you share this out to someone who is interested in getting started in private label, white label. I have to say, if you're interested in getting into white label, Michael is your guy, Dropify. We have a link inside of the summit. If you're interested in getting started in private label and you want all of the information from soup to nuts, A to Z, from concept to launch, Amy is your girl. Like, Amy is the girl. And so Like there.
Sorry, I pointed the wrong way because this camera sucks. But Amy over there is a
Amy is a girl. And so I just want to say, you need to check her out, Amazing at Home, because she's awesome. If you're on the page right now, we have a link within the summit that you can click on, so you can check out her programs and sign up for her programs, because she is awesome. And she will help you to be successful. She's very passionate about helping people. And Miss Tiffany is very passionate about helping people with their businesses. So you want to check out her page. I think you are today or tomorrow. I think you were today.
Today. I think I was today at 2 p.m.
You were today. And so check out Miss Tiffany if you are looking for help with making sure your business structure is right, making sure your business operations, your planning, all of that. Definitely check out Miss Tiffany. And that is all I have for right now. Thank you all for being part of the panel. I truly appreciate you. You guys, we do have a 9 p.m. prize giveaway. So come back to the fan page in about 30 minutes. And we're going to be giving away a Dymo printer. And then tomorrow night, we have 3 things to give away. We might actually have 13. I know that's a really wide range there, but we have all of those onesie giveaways. So I need to find out from all of the speakers that are giving away the one drawing if we're doing those tomorrow or not. So there might be actually not 13. There will be 3. It will be 19.
You know what? You can throw my man thong prototype in there.
I will throw the man thong in there. So those who want the man thong, just write in the comments, and we'll make sure that we get you taken care of. If you need the man thong, just in the comments, go right ahead. And whenever I finally meet Michael, we are gonna have so much freaking fun. Oh my God.
You can throw in a matching face mask to go with that.
Ooh, the man thong. Yeah, all leopard print. It'll be good. I like it.
Because you really don't want to know what the person's face looks like if you're wearing the man thong.
That's a whole bundle package. Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to go now before we dig a bigger hole than we already have. And we appreciate all of you for watching this segment of Private Label and Print on Demand. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. I enjoyed it.